Session on Introduction to Artificial Intelligence by Advancer. My name is Aatish Shah and I shall shortly introduce myself. But prior to that, let us quickly look at what is the agenda for the day today. Okay. So initially allow us a few moments to introduce ourselves, introduce Advancer, introduce myself, and then give us a few minutes to, talk about the core of this session, which is a brief introduction to artificial intelligence. What exactly is AI? How does AI work? Where have you seen it in real life? What are its applications in the real world? And then we'll come to the section on careers in AI, right? How to pursue a AI as a career, what are the opportunities, options, data involved as far as careers are concerned, etc. And then again, give us a few minutes to speak about our certified artificial intelligence specialization program in association with TCS Ion, which will actually help you to create this career in AI. At the end of this session, I shall open up the floor for question and answers. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask at the end of this session. Till then, I would request your patience and ask you to hold on to your questions till I open up the floor for Q&A. Thanks so much for the same. So about Advancer, Advancer is an IIM IIT alumni venture, and what we are is a data science and AI knowledge hub, which is designed to meet the learning needs for all kinds of professionals, be it those who are new to data science and AI, or those who are already working in this sector and in this industry and want to upskill and reskill themselves with newer tools and technologies. So we are one of India's leading data science and AI training providers, and we have trained over 7,000 people globally in data science and AI. And how we have done that, I shall come to shortly. If any one of you has gone through the popular Analytics India magazine or Analytics Vidya blogs, you would notice that we have been rated as one of India's top 5 data science training institutes by them. And these are more of third-party testaments to our capabilities in terms of training people in this field. My name is Aatish Shah. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Advancer. And before Advancer, I worked in the investment banking industry. Overall, I have 14 years of experience divided between the education management and investment banking industries. Before starting Advancer, I worked with global investment banks like Lehman and Nomura, and I'm a postgraduate in management from IIM Lucknow and also an engineer from Mumbai University. My co-founder on the data science vertical is Mr. Lalit Sachan. Lalit has over 9 years of experience in data science and AI, and he's worked on end-to-end projects. He's completed his post-graduation from Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata, and he's a B.Tech from IIT Kanpur. So thanks for being patient enough to listening to this introduction. And now we get into the core of this session, which is what is AI. Now, before I tell you what exactly is AI or I take you through it, I want to know what are your thoughts on the same. What do you think is artificial intelligence? Just put it down into the chat box and I'll read it out for others. All right. So I'll just pause here for a few seconds to collect your responses and then we'll move forward from there. I'm waiting for a few more responses before I begin. Come on, whatever be your thoughts. I mean, it doesn't have to be correct. This is more of trying to figure out what is your level of understanding of artificial intelligence. So Amit says intelligence programmed for machinery. Purushottam says it is the work which a machine does intelligently. Sivaramakrishnan says it's evolution of human intelligence. All right. Navyashri says development of intelligent machines working like humans. Okay. Harshit says it's a branch of computer science aimed to make a system that should work like a human being without human interaction. Okay, that's slightly better. Suresh says it's for decision making. It's an intelligent system for decision making based on data and analytics with minimal human intervention. All right. Nikhil says machines taking decisions from the past data. Okay. All right. So I have received quite a few responses here. I mean, I'm not going to speak them each and every one of them out aloud, but suffice to say that some of you have a basic understanding of AI, some not so much, but that's not an issue, right? Let me take you through a few examples of AI, which almost all of us would have seen at some point or the other in our daily life. And that should actually open your eyes out a bit more. So do you experience AI in day-to-day life? And the answer is yes. All of us have experienced AI in some form or the other in our day-to-day life. And let me at the outset say here that AI is not about creating a human-like robot. Okay. It is not about creating a human figure which does everything and walks and talks and works like a human does. It could be as simple as something which resides in your computer and does a human level intelligence kind of work. But let's go through these examples and see how we all have seen AI in daily life. So when we upload our photos on Facebook and Instagram, etc., whoever is in that photo generally gets automatically tagged, right? Okay, XYZ is in this photograph, that gets tagged. How does Facebook know who is in this photo, right? For it, you have just uploaded a photograph, but how does Facebook recognize that Rakesh is in this photo or Avdesh or Ranjit are in this photo? How does Facebook manage to do that? So this is based on an AI system, which is in a generic term called as computer vision, where you are giving your computer or where you are giving your system or machine the ability to see, the ability to recognize, right? Now, over the last several years, maybe 15 years since Facebook was born, Facebook has been collecting millions and probably billions of photographs, right? All through these years, it has, in its initial years, it has asked people to manually tag who is in that photo. What it was doing at that point of time was it was collecting data. It was collecting data about the the elements of the face and correlating it with a name or a person on Facebook. With all this data, then Facebook created this computer vision system, which was able to automatically recognize the faces of people, right? So it was able to do facial recognition with all the data that we ourselves provided Facebook. And since that point of time, we no longer need to tag who is in that photo. Facebook automatically tags that, unless it's a new person on Facebook, right? So this computer visions is based on an AI algorithm which helps to recognize facial features. This computer vision system or facial recognition system is actually used across, by multiple companies across multiple applications. It's not just restricted to Facebook, but via Facebook and Instagram, this is something that we have seen in our day-to-day life. The usage of an AI system to recognize faces. Now think about this. As a human, you can recognize maybe 50 faces, maybe 100 faces, maybe 200 faces, right, at a time. But beyond that, you will always find it difficult to correlate the face of a person and his name, his or her name. Facebook can recognize hundreds of millions of people. So this is an AI system which can do something that a human does, but which can do it at scale. Across hundreds of millions or even billions of people, Facebook can recognize that. No human can ever recognize so many different people, right? So what AI is, it's not just what a human can do, but what a human can do at scale. All of us at some point or the other might have seen or used Netflix or Amazon Prime Video or Hotstar, etc. Right? So when we use these OTT apps, as they are known as, initially when we register for them, if you remember, at least on Netflix, you are asked to select 3 different movies or shows that you are interested in. What are they doing there? They were collecting data. Now, across hundreds of millions of users, they have collected this data about what all of them like in terms of their viewing, what kind of interests you have in terms of movies and shows that you want to watch. Based on that, Netflix, right at the outset, suggests certain shows and movies to you. And as you watch and more on any of these apps, the more data it is collecting about you. And more data it collects about you, the more accurate it is able to make its recommendations to you as to what you should be watching next, right? This is based on a machine learning and artificial intelligence system called as a recommendation engine. So what this recommendation engine does is it collects data about what you are watching, what other people like you are watching, what other people have watched after watching what you are watching currently, etc., etc. So all kinds of data points it is collecting, and then it is able to recommend in real time what exactly you should be watching next. And this recommendation system is quite important in terms of its accuracy, because if it is more accurate, you will keep watching more and more. You will keep watching and using these apps more, and that's how they benefit. If it is less accurate, you may get bored and you may, stop watching it, or you may switch over to another app. That is where they lose revenue. So the more accurate the recommendation system, higher is the revenue that these apps generate. So this revenue generation system of all these apps is very highly connected to the AI system that they are able to develop. And this is the importance of artificial intelligence in the businesses of today and the businesses of the future, where a lot of their revenue, a lot of their profits will be driven and generated by artificial intelligence usage. Now, this is something that we have not yet witnessed in real life, but Google actually did a small demo of this a year, or I think 1.5 years or a couple of years earlier. It's a system called as Google Duplay. This is a Google Assistant, a virtual assistant or an AI-based system which Google has developed, which can talk like a normal human does, in a normal human voice. It can do a lot of things that currently, executive assistants or secretaries or, various other kinds of assistants can actually do. So if you want, let's say, to make a reservation in a restaurant, all you need to do is tell this Google Duplay where and at what time. It will find out the number of this restaurant. It will dial it. It will call the restaurant. The restaurant person will pick up, and this system will actually talk like a normal human assistant in a normal human voice and say, I am XYZ. I would like to make a reservation at this time for these many people. The person on the other end will not be able to figure out whether this is a bot or a actual person talking. And when that person replies, this Google Duplay bot will be able to understand what he is saying. It will understand what that person is saying, and it will respond just the way a human would respond. So it is not only able to talk like a normal human, it is able to understand what other people say like a normal human and be able to respond to that in an intelligent manner. So this system will keep getting refined as time goes along. And at some point of time, maybe in the next 5 to 7 years, it will become so good that it will actually be able to replace, various kinds of secretarial jobs and assistant kind of jobs and call center jobs, right? So maybe 10 years from now, you won't have call center jobs. You will have bots actually making and receiving calls and talking to you like a normal call center agent. This is where I a lot of you may have heard that, AI is replacing jobs, etc. So AI is replacing jobs, but it is going at the moment replacing jobs of a low end nature. At the same time, AI is creating multiple other kinds of jobs which require you to create such kind of systems, which require you to have these artificial intelligence development skills. So at one end, jobs are being destroyed and replaced. At the other end, higher end jobs are being created. And that is where, upskilling and reskilling oneself is quite important, because you don't know when your job gets replaced by an automated system. Again, this is a system which is not probably yet available in India, but in many Amazon stores in the US, it has already been implemented. Now, think about it. What is the most irritating part of going to a large format, retail shop, a department store, or something like a Big Bazaar or a Reliance store? What is the most irritating part of shopping in these places? Anyone? What have you found the most problematic? The billing or the checkout, right? You have to stand in an endless queue and probably spend more time standing in that queue than you actually took to buy what you needed. Now Amazon has actually completely replaced the checkout counter, the billing queue. You download the Amazon Pay app on your phone, you switch on Bluetooth, you walk into an Amazon Go store, you pick up the things you want, put them in your bag, and you walk out of the store, and whatever you bought from that store gets automatically deducted from your Amazon Pay account without you having to do anything at all. How does this work? How do they know what exactly did they buy? So again, the computer vision and recognition comes into play here. So the store has cameras all around, and these cameras are keeping a track of what exactly is a person is picking up and putting in their bag, and it is able to recognize that object. It is able to recognize it as a certain product. Within its database, it knows that this product has this kind of price. It sees how many items of that product you have put into your bag, and it bills you for that. Now, if you pick it out of your bag and put it back onto a shelf again, it is able to recognize that too, and it will deduct that from your bill, right? So through computer vision, this system knows exactly what product you picked up and what you have put into your bag. Again, AI here has replaced a job at a checkout counter in a retail store, right? So this kind of AI systems will keep on replacing low-end jobs. And finally, things like, Apple Siri or Google Assistant, etc. We all have probably used that on our Android phones or Apple phones. And we know that they are able to recognize what we say. They are able to do what we want them to do, things like Alexa, etc. Right? So many of us may have used that. So these are nothing but artificially intelligent systems which are able to recognize what you say like a human and respond to you like a human. Right. So this is how we all have seen artificial intelligence in our day-to-day life. So AI is not just, let me say, something in the future. It is already present with us, and it is continuously revolutionizing how industries work, how businesses work, how jobs are, what kind of jobs are lost, what kind of jobs are created, and it is changing the world as we speak. So what is artificial intelligence? After giving you all these examples, let's get into the theoretical definition of what exactly is AI. So artificial intelligence is the ability of a machine. And when I say machine, I'm not talking about a factory machine, I'm talking about a computing system, a computer, let's say, to perform cognitive tasks commonly associated with humans. What do I mean by cognitive tasks? Cognitive tasks are the ones which require thinking, higher order thinking, right? So it is not manual tasks associated with, doing something or in a factory, etc. It is tasks which require a human to think and then do it, right? So it is the ability of this machine to perform such thinking level tasks, which are usually done by a human. And it is the ability of this machine or a computer program to think and learn, right? So it is not just about thinking here, it is also about learning from what happens next. So if this AI system has been built, it takes a certain decision, it does something, it is given a feedback, whether it was right or whether it was wrong. And through this feedback, which is basically just another data point, it keeps learning and improving its accuracy and its abilities, right? So an AI system has to be able to learn also, not just think and do something, but also learn. So the concept of AI is based on the idea of building machines which are capable of thinking, acting, and learning just like humans, right? So even as a human, we were not born with all our abilities. We could not speak, we could not walk, we could not, you know, understand what others were saying, but we learned that. A lot of data kept getting fed to us by other humans around us, by the environment around us, and we kept learning. We learned from our mistakes. We started walking, we fell down, we understood what not to do. The same way an AI system also has to learn, but obviously not as slowly as a human, much quicker. So AI is something which combines technology, maths, and domain understanding to create machines which are capable of interacting with their environment and acting upon that data in a manner considered intelligent, right? So we talk about, three things here. Technology. So technology is the technology which is used right from the point of collecting the data necessary to create the system, storing the data, processing that data, analyzing that data, making sense out of it, creating, the AI system out of that analysis, and deploying that AI system where it is required. So think about it. When Facebook and Instagram are collecting all that these photos, they are using all kinds of technology to collect those images, store those images at their end. Think about it. Billions of images are being stored. Terabytes of data is being stored by them. All that data has to be processed to make it suitable for analysis. Then they have to analyze this humongous number of images to be able to figure out who is who, what is your face like, what is my face like. And then that AI system is getting created through that analysis of data and getting deployed on the front end of Facebook, right? So all this technology is something which is usually, learned, which is usually worked on by a combination, by a team which is combined of, people with software development backgrounds, people with AI skills, people with front end backgrounds, etc. Then comes maths. So maths provides us the algorithms which are actually utilized to create these AI systems, which are used to analyze all this data. So there are multiple mathematical algorithms, machine learning and deep learning algorithms, which are something that as an AI expert, one has to learn, understand, and figure out where and how to use. And finally, there is domain understanding. Domain understanding is the understanding of the business or the industry or the company for which you are creating this system. So this domain understanding is important because it will tell you what kind of data is necessary, what kind of data is not necessary, and eventually how to understand the output of your AI system and deploy it in the real world. So AI is a multidisciplinary subject which combines technology, maths, and business understanding. So it is not just programming by itself, it is not just maths by itself, it is not just business by itself, it is a combination of all three things, right? So as per Accenture, they have divided AI into three different, uh, I would say, areas, which is sensing, comprehending, and acting. So sensing is the way that the AI system is actually able to gather the data. So quite often it is the hardware aspect of the AI system, which is, let's say, in an Alexa speaker, it is the speaker. In a camera-based system, in a computer vision system, it's the camera. So sensing is generally the hardware part, which is able to collect and store the data. Then comes the comprehending part, which is the actual understanding, which is understanding what was spoken or understanding what is being looked at by the camera or the image captured by the camera. So that is the core of the AI system, the understanding part. And finally, the acting part, which is the actual deployment of this understanding in the real world, which is done through expert-based systems or machine learning systems. So a lot of things can be done through these three areas, like creating virtual agents, identity analytics, cognitive robotics, robots which can think for themselves, for instance, speech analytics, recommendation systems, etc. So a lot of these example solutions and applications of AI are there. Now, some of you may have a question, what is AI? What is the difference between AI and machine learning and deep learning and data science? How do they relate to each other? So what we have done is created just a very graphical representation of how they relate to each other. So data science is largely the umbrella term or the mother term which covers all of these things. It is essentially the science of data. Now, data science can range right from very basic data analysis to actually predicting what could happen in the future to another level, which is taking decisions without human intervention, to the final level, which is thinking, acting, and learning like a human does, right? So data science covers all these four different levels. So at the very basic level, data science could be trying to answer the question, what happened in the past? So let's say I have data about sales of my business. I can see what happened in the last 3 months. I can analyze that. I can create a chart. I can create a dashboard. I can create, an MIS report out of it. That is basic data analysis, data analytics, and that comes in data science also. Then I can use that data to predict what could happen in the future, right? What is going to happen 3 months down the line? How are my sales going to grow? Are they going to fall? Are they going to increase, etc.? So that is something called as predictive analytics or business analytics. Then if I go a step further, I come into something called as machine learning, where I create a machine learning system, feed it data, and it starts taking decisions on its own. And as more data comes to it, it keeps learning and keeps improving the accuracy of its decisions. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning. So deep learning is, I would say, advanced algorithms in machine learning, which are actually used to create the artificial intelligence systems. So deep learning is a part of machine learning. It is a part of artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence also, to a large extent, overlaps with machine learning and data science. Now, there is some part of artificial intelligence which is different from these, where data is not, used. It deals more with the hardware systems, the sensing part of AI, etc. So this is how AI, ML, deep learning, data science are all related to each other. Deep learning is a subset of AI. AI is also a subset of data science. Machine learning is a subset of AI. Machine learning is a subset of data science, right? So there is a huge overlap between all these four. It's just the levels of analysis that you are doing and the applications that you are putting out of that data analysis, which is what differs between all these four. So let's get into the section on careers now. What's the market buzz on AI? So as per the International Data Corporation, the worldwide spending on cognitive and artificial intelligence systems is set to grow by 4 times almost to $78 billion from $19 billion over 4 years. And that's a huge growth which is happening. As per a survey by Ernst & Young, 56% of senior professionals say that lack of AI talent is the greatest single barrier to the implementation of AI in their company. So what they are saying is plain and simple, we cannot find AI talent. We cannot find people who are skilled and who have the AI skills. There's a huge war for talent out there, and hence we are not able to implement AI in our businesses as fast as we would like. IBM says that the annual demand for data scientists, data engineers, AI, and data developers will reach nearly 700,000 openings. And that is a huge figure. Tencent, which is one of China's largest companies, says demand for AI talent will soon cross 1 million people around the world. Think about that. Huge demand for AI. Analytics India magazine in its survey says close to 90,000 positions related to data science are being advertised every month today. Times of India says data scientists earn much more than CAs and IT professionals, and that's absolutely correct. Economic Times says there's a 400% increase in demand in India for AI and data science skills. So quite clearly, huge demand for AI and data science skill sets around the world and especially in India. So if you go by, a report by LinkedIn, what are the top 20 emerging jobs? So machine learning engineer, data scientists top that category. They have grown the most and are the most emerging job around the world. If you look at a report by World Economic Forum, the future of jobs, they show the number of jobs. They show the kind of jobs which are emerging and the top 10 declining jobs. And look at that. The top two roles which are emerging are data analysts and data scientists, AI and machine learning specialists. And the top 10 declining jobs, if you see them, all of them are actually jobs which are actually getting automated out or getting replaced by AI, right? Indeed.com, which is one of the world's largest job portals, says that in AI, job openings are actually rising faster than job seekers. The number of job seekers are actually flat over the last 3 years, but the number of job openings have almost doubled. And this gap is actually resulting in salaries increasing very rapidly as far as AI talent is concerned. So in India, the average salary for an AI professional ranges between about 11 lakhs to 16 lakhs depending on the city you are in. And when I say average AI professional, this is somewhere where the work experience is in the region of 2 to 3 years. So if you have 2 or 3 years of relevant work experience, you can get anything between 11 to 16 lakhs per annum as far as AI is concerned. And then as your experience goes along, salaries really jump. So, freshers straight out of college in AI get anything in the region of 6 to 8 lakhs per annum. The top AI hubs in India are Bangalore, the National Capital Region, Mumbai, and Hyderabad, followed by Pune, Chennai, Kolkata, etc. And the average work experience of an AI professional in India, 27% of people are actually freshers to less than 1 year of experience. 1 to 2 years of experience, 40% of people. 3 to 5 years experience, another 19%, and 6 and above, another 14% are there. So as you can see here, the experience levels for AI jobs are pretty much spread across all kinds of levels. There are huge opportunities for freshers. There are huge opportunities for mid-career professionals. There are huge opportunities again for senior professionals too. So there are jobs across the range. So just to quickly speak about our Certified Artificial Intelligence Specialization Program in association with TCS. So this is a program where you become a full stack data scientist and AI expert and get certified by TCS Ion at the end of the program. What do I mean by a full stack data science and AI expert? A full stack data science and AI expert is someone who knows all the necessary tools, technologies which are needed in this field. So through this program, you will learn how to automate decision making and create human level intelligence systems through predictive analytics, machine learning, deep learning, and data visualization using tools such as R, Python, TensorFlow, Keras, SQL, etc. Right? So you are going to learn all the relevant tools and technologies which are needed in this field. And you're not just going to learn the I would say the theory in isolation or the tools in isolation. You are going to learn through over 25 real world case studies, and these will teach you how to combine the theory and the tools to actually create such human level AI systems. You are going to work on 15 real world projects, which will help you create a AI ready CV. So these are projects that you will work on and put on your CV, on your resume, and it will act as hands-on experience on the same. So the course has been designed in such a way that it will create AI experts who are well armed to deliver on the job on day one. Suppose this course you do not need to be trained by anyone else. You can start working on day one itself, and that is what companies actually want. They don't want to hire people who then need to be trained, and then they need to waste months training such kind of talent. They would rather hire people who are already trained in AI skill sets and put them on the job on day one itself. The course has been designed by industry veterans who have more than 30 years of experience between them, and they know exactly what employers today require, and that is what they have put into the curriculum. How does this program work? So we have two different options. One is the live instructor-led online class on weekends, and the other is self-paced video-based learning with faculty support. So in the live instructor-led online classes, you will be attending 180 hours of live classes held online on weekends, where an industry expert will be training you live. And apart from that, we'll be giving you some videos also. Any doubt or question will be easily resolved, can be easily asked and resolved in the class live itself, just like a normal class. And later on during the weekdays, when you are practicing, when you are revising, you can ask your questions to us on our forum or via email, and within 24 hours you will get a response. This is a 30 weekend program which is spread over approximately 8 months, where every Saturday and Sunday we have 3 hours of online classes each. We have a comprehensive learning management system to which you will get a lifetime access, where you will find all our course material, reading material, assignments, codes, data sets, projects, the question and answer forum, etc., and a lot of other videos too. And apart from that, each and every class gets recorded, and those recordings are made available to you on the learning management system for your lifetime. So if you miss a class, you can go through the recording. If you want to revise what happened in the class, you can go through the recording. When you are preparing for an interview post the course, you can go through the recording. In your job, when you want to again revise something, you can go through the recording. So this is like having access to the class for your lifetime and being able to attend the class again and again and again. At the end of the course, once you complete a certain minimum number of projects, we will evaluate you on those projects and give you our certificate. Also, there is a final exam by TCS, which you can give and get the TCS ION ProCert certificate, which will be quite valuable on your CV. It will act in terms of opening a lot of employer doors to you because you have the certificate of one of India's largest and the world's largest software and IT companies and one of India's largest employers. The fees for this program originally is 1,15,000 plus taxes, but till the 20th of September, we are offering it to you at 69,990 plus tax, which can be paid in interest-free installments. Currently, for our next batch, which starts on the 26th of September, you can reserve your seat with just 5,000 rupees plus taxes and pay the rest before the batch begins through our uh, EMI service providers. The self-paced video-based plus faculty support option is where you learn through 200 hours of videos at your time and at your pace. There are no deadlines here. There are no timelines. You can go through these videos whenever you want. You can complete the course as fast as you want or as slow as you want. And you can easily get all your doubts and questions resolved through forums and email or scheduled phone calls. Since you're not attending the live classes, obviously you can't ask the question live, but when you ask them on our forum and email, you will get a response within 24 hours. Everything else remains the same except for the fees, which is 49,990 plus taxes, and the same can be paid in interest-free installments over 6 months. There are no batches for this mode of learning. You can start learning today itself if you want. All right. What exactly are you going to learn in this program? So we are going to teach you, start with, predictive analytics in R, where we train you on the R language. We train you on various statistical techniques right from basics onwards for about 60 to 66 hours. Then we take you through machine learning in Python, where again we train you on the basics of Python, basics of machine learning, and all the advanced machine learning algorithms for another 63 to 66 hours. Then we train you on deep learning with TensorFlow and Keras for another 54 hours, again right from the basics onwards. We will provide you videos on data visualization in Tableau and data analysis using SQL for about 12 hours. So you are going to learn a lot of different tools, technologies, statistical and mathematical techniques, and you will learn all of these things through real world case studies and projects. Who are our faculty? They are all industry professionals who have anything between 3 to 10 years of experience across data science and AI, across various kinds of verticals and industries. They also have a lot of training experience with them, and they have trained thousands of students between them, and they know exactly how to train people who are new to this field. So this is quite important from a faculty perspective, because not only should a faculty know the subject, but they should also know how to impart the knowledge of that subject to people who are new to it. And that is where our faculty really excel. They have studied at some of India's best institutes like IITs, ISI, BITS, NITs, etc. So today I can proudly say that some of the best faculty actually work with Advancer in this industry. We work with, a lot of corporates to train their teams in data science and AI, to train their, to help them hire also. We have helped them through our alumni and student base. We work with Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies like GE, Genpact, Microsoft, PwC, L&T, EY, etc. And, we help them. We not only provide them the same course that you are going through, the same learning that you will be going through, but we also provide them the same certificate. So that is how our certificate is also highly recognized in the industry. So thanks for being patient enough in listening to me so far. As a special token of our gratitude, if you enroll by the 18th of September, you are going to get a further 10,000 rupees special discount for the live class and a 5,000 rupees special discount for the self-paced version on the AI course if you enroll by 18th September over and above the discount which I have already mentioned. All right, so if you enroll by 18th September, the course fee for you is 59,990 plus tax, or 44,990 plus tax. So before I open up the floor for question and answer, there are a few commonly asked questions which I'll just tackle upfront here so you don't need to ask them again. The first question is, what background or prerequisite is required for the AI course? So ideally, you should have an engineering or a technical background like an MCA or a BCA or a BSc, MSc in maths, stats, physics, computer science. Then you will be more suitable to take up this course. If you have an MBA and currently working in a non-technical role, or you come from a non-technical background by itself in graduation, you should take a look at our PG program in data science by UPS. That will be more suitable for you as a learning course, as an upskilling course, and as a course to get a job. A basic programming background will always be useful, even if it's just C or C++ for the AI course. But if you don't have it, that's all right. We are going to teach you from the basics onwards. So you don't need, it's not mandatory to have a programming background. If you do, it's great, but it's not mandatory. The other question that we frequently get is, how will data science, AI, or the courses help my career? So the point is, what does a person need from his career? He needs a career which is fast growing, which keeps growing. He needs good salary hikes every year, and he or she needs to do work which is very impactful or satisfying, because that is what keeps you happy and interested in your job, right? Now the point is, AI and data science provide all three. This is a very fast growing field, so obviously your career is also going to grow rapidly. You are going to keep moving into newer roles, doing newer things every few months or every year. As I mentioned earlier, the salaries are very, very high in this industry, and every year you keep getting good salary hikes also, to the order of about 20% or so. Right at the outset, when you shift your career from what you're doing currently to AI or data science, you are easily going to get anything between a 40 to 100% hike. And finally, the work that you're doing here is very, very impactful and very, interesting. You'll be working with the top management of the company, and the impact that your work or the AI systems can likely make can actually define the company or change the entire trajectory of the company itself, right? So you are actually going to be doing work which is going to have a lot of impact, and that is where, you know AI as a career or data science as a career can provide a person all the three things that he requires from his job. What is the salary I can expect after the courses is another question we frequently get. So the point is, I can't tell you your exact salary, but what I can say is that our students get anything between a 40 to 100% pay hike. Your salary will obviously depend on a lot of things, but this is the range which you can target when you are shifting your career from what you are doing currently to data science and AI. If you are starting as a fresher, or if you are a fresher right now, you can expect a salary in the range of about 5 to 8 lakhs right out if you're coming straight from college. Do you provide placement assistance? Yes, we do. We help you with your resume preparation and interview preparation. And a lot of companies, from the top IT companies to startups, come to us for hiring our students. We keep you updated on all such opportunities and will forward your CVs to these companies if you'd like to apply to these openings, and then we will help them coordinate with interviews, etc. So every week, or let's say every month, we send you multiple different opportunities, and you are free to apply to any one of those which is interesting for you. So just a few examples of people who have done our courses and moved on to a career in data science and AI. These are just 5 examples, but we have literally more than thousands. So I'll open up the floor for question and answer here. Any further questions that you may have beyond the FAQs that I've already answered, please feel free to ask, and I'll be happy to answer each and every one of them. The only thing is I'll be answering in the first come first served order, right? So if you find that your question is not being answered, please be patient. It's lower down the order, and I will come to it and answer the same. All right, don't put it up again. So the first question is Nikhil Nima. Nikhil, you have already taken our data science self-paced course 2 years ago and covered R, Python, SQL in process. You want to know if you need to take the TCS course also to gain the TCS certificate. So Nikhil, what you can do is you can upgrade the course, and for that you can get in touch with our team at info@advancer.in. This is the email ID, and they will help you in terms of how to upgrade to the TCS program. Amit Keswani, your question is first class, that is 60% plus necessary at graduation, post-graduation level? So Amit, till date, we have had almost, I think not almost, we have had no company actually ask us what is the graduation or post-graduation percentage of our students. What they are looking at, plain and simple, are the skill sets that you have and how well you can demonstrate that. So they do not ask what is your graduation or post-graduation percentage. Deepak, your question is, you have 7+ years experience in telecom sector, in team management, vendor management, project management. You don't have any technical experience. Is it beneficial for you? You have done your BE in electronics and communication. So Deepak, what I would suggest to you is our PG program in data science with UPES. That will be as beneficial to you as the AI program. The only difference between the two programs is that in AI we cover deep learning, and in data science we don't cover deep learning. That is all. All right. So deep learning being very, very mathematical in nature, if you're comfortable with mathematics, then you can go ahead. Otherwise, it's better that you just do the PG program in data science. That's going to be helpful to you. Avdesh, your question is, what is the opportunity of AI in the finance sector? And in one word, I can say, Avdesh, tremendous. Finance sector has the potential because it is one of the largest generators of data in the world. Today, the finance sector, finance companies and banks sit on terabytes of data, and they have so many jobs which can be automated and which can be done through AI, that there is humongous potential of artificial intelligence in the finance sector. You can just do a Google search, and you can spend an entire week just researching on that. Rishabh, your question is, which field in India has more scope, data science or AI? So right at the outset, I just want to clear one thing here. As I showed you, there is a huge overlap between data science and AI. So when we ask data science or AI, that's not the right way to look at it. They are largely one and the same. AI is just where you learn something more advanced than data science, which is deep learning. That is all. So there is huge scope in the field of data science, and AI is a part of data science. Let's say that, right? So there is tremendous scope for any data scientist or AI expert in India today. Suresh, your question is if you want to take only Python and not R, is it possible? So Suresh, we have a course on machine learning and Python. So you can combine machine learning and you can with deep learning, and you can avoid R if you want. But ideally, we do R because we also cover statistics over there. We cover basic statistics over there. So if you are comfortable with basic statistics, that's great. If not, then it would be better that you take up the entire program by itself, right? So do connect with our team, have a word with them, and then take a decision as to what you want to do. Rakesh, your question is there any age eligibility and you are from a MSc chemistry background, so can you do data science or AI program? You can definitely do the data science program, Rakesh. That will be far more, will have far more scope for you. And, as far as an age eligibility is concerned, we don't have any such eligibility at our end, so don't worry about the same. Purushottam, your question is, can an AI engineer work as a data scientist? So again, essentially, there is a huge overlap here. So many companies will actually call their AI engineers data scientists, right? Many AI guys will call themselves data scientists. So there is nothing hard and fast about this. If you learn AI, you are still a data scientist. If you learn data science, great. You are just missing the deep learning aspect of AI. That is all. Ranjit, your question is, what are the prospects for a person with non-technical background, especially people from commerce background? So Ranjit, for people from commerce background, we have two other programs you can look at. One is the PG program in data science. The other is our data analytics specialization. And again, the prospects are good because, as I mentioned earlier, data analytics, data science are not just, technology by itself or maths by itself or business understanding by itself. It is a combination of all three. So with your background, you might be able to bring in a lot of business or domain understanding, which will come into use, and the technology and mathematical skills you are gaining from this course, right? So this is what a company will value, your ability to bring about a understanding of business and domains. So even from a non-technical background, there is a lot of scope. Abhijit, your question is, you work on TCS Ion projects. So while working on other companies or real case studies, is it okay to work on it? I'm not exactly clear about your question, Abhijit. Could you just maybe say the same thing in a bit more detail? What exactly would you like to know? Amit, your question is, how frequently do we upgrade our program? On an annual basis, we upgrade our program, Amit. So every year, whatever be the new technology comes in, we add to our program. Uh, of course, one thing you must remember is that, basic things like statistics, mathematics, programming are never going to change, right? Those are never going to change. Those have been around for decades and centuries and will remain for decades and centuries. So it is only the new technology which comes in is what gets upgraded. So Rakesh, I think I've already answered your question that you should go in for the PG program in data science. Nagapulaya, your question is, you have 3 years of mechanical design engineering experience. Is data science helpful to you or not? Of course, Naga. Even in the world of design, AI is actually taking over, where AI itself is doing the designs now, creating the designs now, right? So for someone like you, being able to gain the skills of AI and utilize it in design is quite important. You can, take in all the designs, and through computer vision, you can actually create an AI system which can create a new design for you based on your requirements, right? So it's going to be very, very helpful for someone like you. So, Suresh, your question is how does the class progress? Do we cover maths in depth and then programming, how to implement the algorithms, what all algorithms are covered? So, what all algorithms are covered are available in our detailed, brochure and curriculum, which you can get from our website, Suresh. Uh, the way the classes will happen is that wherever the algorithms are concerned, first we will cover the theory and then we will take a case study and show you how to actually implement that algorithm in R or Python using that case study, right? So you will be learning from a real world case study all the algorithms. Nitish, your question is in live training mode, is it required to complete the course in strict defined timelines? And in self-paced course, the queries or the questions asked, will they be answered by the industry experts or by the students? Okay. So in live training mode, we do give you deadlines to complete the projects, etc. The thing is, if you are not able to do so, we will definitely consider and allow you more time. As far as the classes are concerned, if you have missed a lot of classes, you can always shift batches to the next batch. So that is always possible, Nitish. As far as the self-paced mode and the questions are concerned, they will be answered by the faculty. But at times, even students are free to answer if they have the answers too. But largely, in 95% of the cases, the faculty will be answering it. Suresh, unfortunately, we don't have daily classes because all our faculty are industry experts. So they are available only on the weekends. And it is best to learn from industry experts because they know all the tips and tricks of how to, of what to teach you and how these things work. So you'll be able to learn uh, you know, from a real world experience perspective. If you take daily classes, you will largely find someone who's a full-time faculty teaching you who doesn't have that industry experience. And you will lose out on the real world experience and tips and tricks, which will actually help you to clear interviews also. If you want to complete in 4 months, then I would suggest you take our self-paced course, Suresh, so that you can complete as fast as you want. Sivaramakrishnan, your question is, will this course help in robotics? If yes, which area can you mention? So in robotics, there's this huge, area of AI itself, right? Why are you creating a robot? You're creating a robot so that it can do what a human does. So eventually the software part of the robot is actually an AI system. So that is where it's going to help you, Sivaramakrishnan. Mobin, your question is statistical background beneficial for this? If you have it, that's great. It's definitely going to benefit you. But if you don't have it, it's not a problem at all, Mubin. The point is, till date, probably 95% of our students don't have a statistical background. Right? That is, they don't come with a BSc, MSc, or a PhD in statistics. Most of them are engineers, many of them are MBAs, etc. And most of the people working in the industry are also engineers or MBAs. So it's not essential to have a statistical background. Bharat, your question is, you have 6 years of experience, mix of IT, non-IT, currently working in Wipro and looking to upskill. What are the expectations from the company for 6 years experience people? So Bharat, the expectations largely remain the same. That is, you are able to demonstrate that you have the skill sets of data science and AI, right? First comes your CV. So are you able to showcase on your CV that you have hands-on experience? So through this program where you're working on 15 real world projects, you can actually put those projects on your CV and the same will act as hands-on experience. So that, is one expectation that is covered. And two, through the training that you get, you will be trained so well that you can actually solve the case studies which are given to you by the company. So this is largely the expectation that a company has from a 6 years experienced person, that if they are hiring you at that level, which is at, let's say, a senior data scientist or senior AI engineer kind of level, then you are able to work on the job on day one. And that is what our course trains you for. Avdesh, your question is, you're working in a leading PSU bank in India with 10 years experience as an IT officer. what can you forecast your career with so much of IT come banking experience? So you can actually transition in-house, in-house or even in any other bank as a data scientist. There are a lot of opportunities for person who has the banking domain experience, the IT knowledge, and also the AI and data science skill sets of this. So banking is where you can create your data science and AI career. Amit, your further question is you are an MBA in marketing, so PGP data science would be more suitable for you. Yes, Amit, I would say that if you have an MBA and you are currently working in a non-technical role, then the PGP in data science will be more suitable for you, and also from a job perspective too. Avdesh, your question is what modules or case studies have been covered in this module related to finance. So we actually have a couple of projects on finance itself, Avdesh. One on banking itself. There are case studies also from the finance and banking field. So you'll have a lot of hands-on experience to showcase from a banking perspective, Avdesh. Suresh, your question is if data science is a subset of AI, what is the other part of data science which is not a part of AI because everything comes under AI? Not exactly, Suresh. Everything comes under data science. AI is also coming under data science. And or I don't know, I mean, I'll take you back to that chart. Probably it's not the time now again to explain it, but let this chart, try to help you understand what exactly comes under AI and what part of data science will not come under AI. And the part of data science which doesn't come under AI is the basic data analysis, predictive analytics, etc. Right? So guys, I'll just be opening up a small poll on your screen here. This is an anonymous poll, so just click on the radio button. It will give us the response. And this is just for us to understand the numbers involved. All right. Amit, your question is what are the system requirements needed for the course? So I think Amit, for the moment, an i3 processor or equivalent in the AMD side is good enough, and you would need at least 4 GB of RAM. If you have more RAM, that's great, but minimum 4 GB of RAM is required. That is all. All the softwares are free and open source and can be downloaded and installed on your own system itself, and we will showcase how to do that to you. Uh, Srinivas, your question is you have 19 years of teaching experience as a faculty in math, stats, and OR. Can you get a job easily to enter into the data science AI field? So I think Srinivas, the advantage you have here is you have deep, deep knowledge in mathematics and statistics, and that is going to help you a lot going forward. Whether you can get a job easily or not is another question. There is nothing in life which is easy. You obviously have to work towards it. You have to, do well in this course, and then jobs are always open for you. But you must remember that 19 years of teaching experience, not all 19 years will be considered. You will have to start at a level which is lower than where you are right now in terms of number of years of experience. If you are willing to do that, that's great. You can definitely get a job because you have such a lot of in-depth knowledge of maths and stats, and that's going to serve you better. Abhishek, your question is which is better, business analyst or artificial intelligence? What is the difference between the two? Okay, so business analyst is different from business analytics, Abhishek. So, let's not confuse now between these two terms. A business analyst is someone who works in the IT industry and generally is involved in gathering requirements, documenting requirements, and generally acting as the person between the technical team and the client, right? That role doesn't have much of data work to it. Business analytics is essentially data analytics, where you analyze data from a business perspective, create, dashboards, MIS reports. You are able to predict or forecast what could happen in the future, etc. Right? So that is business analytics. Artificial intelligence goes much further, where you can utilize similar data to actually create AI systems, human level intelligent systems, right? So which is better is not the question here. Both have equal scope in the world. The question is, what is more suitable for you? What are you more inclined towards? That is what you need to ask first. Sai, your question is, you're a fresher, you are from a computer science background, you don't have any work experience. Will you be able to learn predictive analytics and build models, etc.? Is everything taught from basics? So today, Sai, what I can say is people who have it's not completed their graduation also are learning and working on this. All right. So your background is perfectly suitable for this because you also come from a computer science background. So that is great and that is perfectly suitable. Everything is going to be taught from the basics because we teach everyone from different kinds of backgrounds. We are teaching people from an MBA background, from a computer science background, from a fresher background to 25 years of experience background, right? So the course is designed in such a way that it is suitable for everyone. Everyone eventually starts from zero here, right? So guys, if you have already responded to the poll, that's great. If not, just do so and I'll be closing the poll in the next 30 seconds. Suresh, your question is, does the course cover visualization techniques like network diagrams instead of traditional histograms, blocks, plots, etc.? So there are multiple visualization techniques which are covered in the Tableau course, Suresh. You can find many of those techniques in the curriculum which is there on the Tableau course webpage. You can go through that and see, if that meets your requirements. So I'm just closing the poll here. Thanks so much for your responses. I also have reached the end of the list of questions. If there are any further, apologies. If there are any further questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, thanks for attending this session and I look forward to all of you joining our program from the 26th of September or from a self-paced perspective onwards. Thank you so much. For any further queries and questions, feel free to connect with us on this number and on this email ID, and we will be happy to help you. All right.